couple other board members that are on their way. Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here. So as you all know, we have our first Tuesday of the month committee meetings of Harlingen CISD Board of Trustees. Today, we're going to have the Facilities and Safety Committee, followed by the Transforming Teaching and Learning Committee. So I'll kick it off, and at some point, pass the baton to Mr. Powers, who's going to take over the second half of it. So I guess we will have a Pledge of Allegiance. Why don't I do that myself? If everybody, please stand, if you don't mind. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Awesome. And this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Open Meetings Act. We do not need a quorum, no action items, just committee meetings, although we will have a quorum here soon. At this time, I will ask, are there any public comments for agenda topics?
Mr. Board Secretary, there are no requests for public comments for agenda topics.
Okay, wonderful. All right, well, we'll jump right into the Facilities and Safety Committee meeting. First up, Mr. Tapia, presentation and update on ESSER-funded projects.
Dr. Perez, members of the committee, thank you. Dr. Gonzalez. The first item we're going to talk about are the ESSER-funded projects. And we'll start off with the HVAC improvements at Bowie and Gutierrez. We're about 53%. We're waiting for the units for Gutierrez to be done during the summer, so there'll be a little bit of a wait there. The other controls projects at the high school is ongoing. We're a little bit past 50%. The administration annex is also getting new controls. They're about 90%. We're getting close to completing that one. And Harlingen South, the rooftop units for the fine arts area, choir band area, we're about 15% complete. They're changing out. We're also going to do a lot of this work during the summer as well. So we're changing out some things right now, some of the electrical, doing some of the prep work. This is the unit at Bowie that was installed. And the re-roofing doors, windows, we have the Harlingen High School South, Vela Middle School, Early Childhood Academy. Childhood Academy is the big overall re-roof for that whole school. And the other ones are smaller, patch-up work type, but we're about 80% complete. Roofing and fenestration at the high school is a really big project with a lot of roofing and some doors and windows improvements. We're about 80%. And roofing at the admin annex, the Vernon wing over at the library, the cosmetology we completed recently. And all the elementary mini gyms we've been talking about are complete, so we're about 91% complete. And we did do a change order to add the building for the Habitat building over by the fire first responders building. We got the change order approved, we got the submittals approved, so we're going to start re-roofing and putting a new metal roof on that building as well. Just some pictures of the repair work at Vela, at top left and bottom. And the right side is the Early Childhood Academy. You can see that they've already put the final cap sheet. They're doing minor punch list work, and it's pretty much done. Wing 8 at the high school. This is that big long Wing 8 where we had to go all the way down to the metal roof deck. Took off the entire deck, put new metal deck, put new rigid board insulation, build up the entire roof, and they're pretty much done with that building now. They already finished the roof cap sheet as well. And the cosmetology, that was the work that we did there. It was really more of a repair work instead of a total re-roof, but it turned out really nice as well. Any questions on the TRE projects?
Any questions, board members? Not for me, sir.
The ESSER projects?
Yeah, you can, if you want to continue, Mr. Tapia.
Move on to TRE projects. Hopefully Vernon gym renovations, so we're about 85% complete. We already finished the bleachers, and I'll show you here in a little bit. The parking lot at Vela and Central Admin are also complete. If you drove up, we have brand new light poles here, and over at the Vela Middle School as well. We are going to request a little minor change to put some kind of protective, either concrete curb or a pipe or something in front of them, because they're brown, and if it's a little overcast and you don't pay attention, you cannot see them and maybe run into them. So we're going to add a little bit of an extra barrier there just to make sure that nobody hits them. The culinary at the high schools are, and I'll show you a picture of that, we already started the ceiling work, the light fixtures, the walls, the floor. Everything is complete, so we're gonna start moving in all the equipment. They're in boxes, they're being delivered as we speak here today. And by tomorrow, they should start installing all the equipment, hooking everything up. The fencing project, we awarded at the last board meeting for $925,000 for hurricane fence. We're just about in the process of getting the purchase order, and that project will start soon, as well as a security window film also for $223,000 for Metro Tent. That one we're also processing the purchase order. Oh, I'm sorry, the doors and windows at the 6 schools under Janak, Noble was also awarded to Noble Construction. We're already getting them to submit all the paperwork, the submittals to the architect to approve them, and then they'll be ordering the equipment as well. The Vela Middle School, you can see the new poles. We actually have less poles, but more illumination because of the way it was designed with 4 fixtures on top and the type of fixture, and it's LED, which is also more energy efficient. At Central Admin, like I said, there's the new poles there. They're a little hard to see, but they're far away, but they look just like the ones from Vela. And the bottom left is a picture at night at Vela. You can see how bright the lumens are and the foot candles on that campus, and they're very happy with it. The culinaries, those are the both high school and south on the design of the ceiling tiles, the fixtures. We got ceramic tiles on the walls and VCT on the floors. It's a special type of VCT. It has a little bit of a grit, so it's anti-slip because it's a cooking area. So it's a specialized tile for that type of application. And we had a brand new bid for an air conditioning project for Harlingen High School South. I told you about the fine arts areas. The extra money, we ran out of money. We weren't able to do the locker room, over the locker, athletic rooms, and the boys and girls gym. Boys and girls, those units are really bad, and we were able to do that under TRE this year. We got 3 bids, and the bids were all under budget. Our budget was $850, so we had $695,000, $705,000, and $846,000 from 3 different HVAC vendors. So we'll be ranking them, I believe, tomorrow. We're getting ready to rank them. And so next Tuesday's board meeting, you'll see a recommendation to award this project. This is TRE funded and a very good price to finally complete that area. And we do have one little contingency allowance to report over at the Coakley AC project to change some 4 heat-cool exchange valves over at the chiller and boiler plant, and to install some new DP sensors, which are differential pressure sensors, for $16,000 out of the $58,000 that we had in contingency. We'll still have $42,943 left, and this will close out this project as well. And that's the end of my construction report.
Quick question.
Thank you, Mr. Yes, sir.
Oscar, I'm going back to the south locker rooms. Is that the field house you're talking about, or the locker rooms attached to the gym?
The locker rooms attached to the main gym.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that were dying?
Yes, those are the original units.
Wow.
And they're just not dehumidifying. They have a lot of moisture. It's hot in there, and this will really help improve it.
Good.
That whole area was, it was just the old, they're like 25 years old.
Yeah. Good.
Mr. Tapia, question for you on just the overall situation these days with just construction, with human capital, with workers and that kind of stuff. I know there was a time when it was very difficult to get folks to bid on things and things like that. And, you know, there was issues with obviously supply issues and things. It was very expensive and things like that. I mean, I think it still is, but can you kind of give us your kind of assessment on where we are today in terms of like just the availability of folks to do the work, to do the projects, to bid on projects, as far as your assessment on like, are things, prices settling down, things like that? Just kind of give us your, because this is stuff you do every day. What is your take on where we are in terms of those kinds of issues?
Yes, Dr. Pettis. One of the things that I do when I meet with architects and engineers, contractors, those are the questions I asked them as well to get feedback to keep ahead of what's happening in the industry. And pretty much everybody has told me that a lot of these ESSER-funded projects that just overflooded the market, they're all under the order phase. They're all being delivered. There's a few, as far as new orders, that it's kind of dead right now. Nobody's doing new work because that money ran out. So now they're starting to see the prices coming down. Like this bid here, I anticipated closer to 900,000. Came in almost 700,000 or less. So that's one of the things that I asked him. Are you starting to see this? And he says yes. All engineers in the state are starting to see the price, the more vendors bidding, and the prices are starting to go down a little bit. So that's a good sign for us.
It seems to me too that I'm kind of encouraged that we're getting more bids on our air conditioning, because we seem to always have
One or two.
one or two, sometimes, a lot of times just one, and these are very competitive, at least two of them are, so I'm glad to see we have some quality companies, because both of them have good reputation, all three of them have good reputations, so.
That is what we're seeing, and even in the general construction work, we're only getting one bid, and at times we're getting 0 bids. So it's starting to change, starting to normalize a little bit more.
Awesome. Well, again, thanks for keeping us up to speed again. Thanks for the excellent update. If there are no more questions, Mr. Mendoza, you want to take the next item?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dr. Perez, board members, Dr. Gonzalez. So here we have our TRE budget. We're in year 9 of our TRE budget. So in column 5, we have years 1 through 8. So years 1 through 8, we spent $88.4 million. And year 9, which is our current year, that's highlighted on column 6. Currently, we've spent and encumbered $9,557,517 for projects this year. Column 7 has what we spent and encumbered up to date, up through March 31st of 2024, $97.3 million. And column 8 has our remaining balance on our TRE projects. In our TRE budget, we have $6.9 million in balance since the start of our TRE funded projects 9 years ago. That concludes my report, unless you have any questions on my report.
I don't have any questions. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Thanks.
If no other questions, we'll move on to our school safety update. Mr. Castillo?
Good afternoon, board members, Dr. Gonzalez, district staff, and audience. The top priority of HCISD is keeping our students and staff safe every day. The Texas Education Agency recently conducted an intruder detection audit at one of our campuses. The audits test whether a campus is accessible to an unauthorized individual. This audit seeks to help districts identify how campuses can improve safety and provides an opportunity to create a safer learning environment for our students and staff. Now, we acknowledge that parents and community members are interested in the details of these audit results. However, it's in the best interest of the students and the safety of the students that we do not share this information to the broader public, as it could lead to compromising important campus security information. Specific details of the intruder detection audit will be discussed in closed session.
Wonderful. With that, let's go ahead and now proceed into closed session. To the board, after closed session discussion, we'll reconvene out here, and then Mr. Castillo will again close us out for this part of the safety update. So thank you for that. We'll just go back into executive session. All right, thank you. We'll be back shortly. Thank you.
Do we need to take this with us? It looks like it's got some.
Yes, sir.
Nolan, take your book. I think it's got some
Sure.
stuff in there.
We'll reconvene the Facilities and Safety Committee meeting. Mr. Castillo, do you want to close this out with a discussion of district-wide intruder detection audit report findings, sir? Or just as discussed in executive session, or do you want to go ahead and make any further statements on that?
No, just the closing statement was as provided by the state, the procedural steps, we've complied with that by having that discussion in our closed session. And thank you very much for your attention.
Yeah, awesome. And thanks for the great work you and your team and the district continue to do on the safety issues. Really, I think, best practices and an example for this region and for the state. So kudos to your team. All right, with that, I'll pass the torch here, hand over the baton to Mr. Powers for the next committee meeting.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Our first item on the Transforming Teaching and Learning Committee meeting is going to be Empowering Inclusivity, Special Education, and Innovation Update. OCL Ochoa, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Powers, Dr. Gonzalez, board, administrators, and audience. First of all, I'd like to say thank you very much for allowing me to be here, but we also want to thank our team. We have some of our team members here with us today from our innovation pod, so thank you all for being here. I also want to say thank you and for all the support for today's World Autism Awareness Day. So if you're seeing quite a bit of blue today, it's an honor and support for autism awareness, so thank you. Okay, Empowering Inclusively, Special Education Innovation Pod Update. So here we're trying to create an inclusive environment where students with special needs feel a sense of belonging and are actively engaged in the community. And through practice, I know design teams, innovation teams, they have a hashtag. So ours is hashtag HCISD SPED Success. So that's what we're going to go by. Let's get started. So anything we do here in our innovation pod or in our district or with our department and our students, we go based off our HCISD leadership model. Everything that we do revolves around this model, such as our SSMES with our students and our parents and our classrooms. We have a sense of belonging in our classrooms as well with our students, bringing that culture and that climate to our classrooms. We have the instructional core perspective, as we're also supporting our SPED students instructionally and challenging them as well. And we also look at the business perspective as we provide and we build those synergistic relationships with our students, our parents, our administrators, and everybody that we work with on a daily basis. So we'll get started with some of the statistics. So I just kind of wanted to show a comparison here of where we were, where we've been, and where we are currently. So if we look on the left-hand side, we did a 10-year baseline from 2014, 2015. In our school district, for our SPED identified students in 2014, we're at 1,625 students. Our dyslexia students were at 219. If we go 10 years fast forward to now, our dyslexia students identified have gone to about 906, and our special education students have grown to 2,200 students and counting. So when we look at and the reason I'm highlighting dyslexia is because there's a House Bill 3829 that recently came about at our last legislative session. And now dyslexia falls under a specific learning disability in reading, which now falls under special education. So they now fall under the special education department. And as it is World Autism Day, I wanted to go ahead and also highlight at the bottom on their left-hand side, we had 146 autistic students in our district, and currently we have 430 students, which has grown for 100% in 10 years. So just wanted to highlight some of the numbers we have. And when we look at the math, as far as our student enrollment and our students in special education, dyslexia, and even 504, about 25% of our student enrollment receive services through our department. So thank you to all the teachers and staff and our department out there and your support. So thank you. As we continue, we want to continue to tell our story through our numbers. So continuing with our 10-year baseline from our previous slide, we look at our initial SPED referral evaluation. So the previous slide was students that are already identified. This is the initials. These are students that are in the process of being evaluated through one of our educational diagnosticians or one of our SLPs, our LSSPs, our school psychologists. So this is all combined for our initial SPED referrals. So in 2014, in one school year, we had 213 initial SPED referrals. So these referrals are done through the campus or a parent. And we go 5 years, in 2019 and 2020, we had a total of 546 initial SPED evaluations. And currently this year, in March, when we ran the numbers, and March 21st, the school year hasn't ended yet, we're at 807 initial SPED referral evaluations. So our numbers are increasing. Our numbers, we're seeing an increase each year. So we have to make sure that we also stay in compliance with those, and we're evaluating those students. As a department and as a campus and staff, we continue to provide, these are our disabilities, our categories, our 13 that we provide service to. And these are our services we continue to provide through our department and through our campuses: assistive technology, autism support, adaptive PE, behavior support, OT and PT, speech, transition services, life skills, and resource. So we, as a department, and as we look at the innovation pod, we continue to provide services to one of those, or any of those 13 disabilities that was previously shown. This right here is just a map, a diagram as far as if we're looking at our life skills at ECSE classroom. These are our elementary flow chart. Not all campuses have a ECSE unit or a life skills unit. However, if we're looking at the growth of our city, we're looking at the increasing numbers. Right now, our innovation pod is also looking at the expansion or the addition of a life skills class or ECSE classrooms throughout the district. If we look at our city and where it's growing towards the west of Harlingen. We see subdivisions and cul-de-sacs and houses being built all along our west side of Harlingen. We have to ensure that we're also looking at that, looking at the numbers, studying the increase of evaluations, the students that are qualifying, and we have to ensure that we adjust and we change and we add right where we see fit. And right now we're seeing the west of Harlingen is really growing at incredible rates. So, and just driving around town, you can see like, wow, there's another subdivision there. So we have to make sure that we adapt to that as well. So when we got together, we've come together about 3 or 4 times with our Innovation Pod team members. We asked ourselves, a picture's worth 1,000 words, but what do you want our SPED department to be? What do you want HCISD SPED department to be? And when we brainstormed, we thought ideas, we really want them to be inclusive. We want our students to be involved in every facet of HCISD. We want them to be included. We want them to be a part. They already are, right? We want our students to be more involved in our district and really inclusive in our community. And we want to be the best SPED department in the universe. I'm sorry, that came from Savala, the motto there. Okay, so we met, we brainstormed ideas, we got to work as far as brainstorming, along with our team members here, ideas as far as, what do we want to do? What do we want to bring? How can we bring it? What resources do we need? What are the needs that we see in our district, in our classrooms? What needs do we see in our students? We want to be able to provide the best services we can to our students and make sure that they're part of our community. So a lot of ideas came together, and we had about 6 filled flow charts, but I said, oh, hold on, let me condense it a little bit. So we brought some planning together. We talked about every part of the organization, from organizations collaborating, staffing. We talked about trainings, and when we look at our goals and our roadmap, we said, okay, we can't do everything all in year 1. We need to make sure that we strategically plan. So we take a look at our 4 concentric circle model, and this is by Professor Ohad Kamen. In reference to our Happier book, as we are referencing our Happier book, we're doing a book study in our leadership calibration with Dr. Gonzalez. So when I read this chapter, I really thought about the design team and say, you know what, this can work in any goal that we do, whether it's personal or professionally. So that outer circle is things, when we take a look at our ideas and where we wanted to go, our outer circle is the possibilities that are available to us. What do we have already? What can we do now? What can we implement next year or this year that we can do that's reachable and attainable? Then we start working our way to what I really, really, really want to do, and that's our innermost circle, is our deepest wants and desires. What do we really want to do? But it's going to take some time, but we're going to make our way. We're going to make our way there. So we brainstormed a lot of ideas. We came together, and year 1 to implement, as far as part of the resources that we have, things that we can implement by next year. So we want to look to provide mandatory SPED trainings for all district staff. We want to make sure that all our staff members in the district, whether you're a teacher, front office personnel, custodian, child nutrition staff member, that we're all aware of the disabilities and that we're informed how to best service all our students. We also want to ensure that we're providing those trainings and our processes along with our services to our principals, our administrators. And we also look to bring in our school attorney, Elvin Houston, and provide some of those trainings as far as SPED has a lot of litigation involved with it. So we want to make sure that we are all on the same page when it comes to servicing our SPED students and providing those services. We'll continue to provide trainings for our paraprofessionals and our teachers, a more intensive training as far as instructions changing, as far as accountability, and as far as our services. We want to make sure that we're all properly trained at all various levels, whether you're a first-year paraprofessional teacher or a tenured teacher. We want to make sure that we continue to stay abreast about all the changes, House bills, litigation, things like that, the changes that are happening. We want to make sure that we're also well-trained throughout our year. We also want to have an engaging community through a marketplace. A lot of our students are creating or making things such as baked goods. They're knitting, they're creating all kinds of products. So we want to provide a space for them to have like a marketplace where they're able to come and showcase their products. We want to ensure that we have proclamations such as Down Syndrome Day and our World Autism Awareness Day throughout our district so that we can celebrate and support our students as well. We also want to collaborate with our district organizations such as UIL, ROTC, robotics. Why not have a highlight of our SPED student during halftime, one of our special education students, during some of our events? Collaborate with them, bring them to their practices, bring them to their events, have them involved in our events that are happening. We were just talking about here our soccer games. We have some of our teams in the playoffs. Seeing our students being recognized during halftime, being highlighted as well, being inclusive in our district UIL events. And we're also looking for a spring open house. So the spring open house, we're looking for our students that transition from elementary to middle school and middle school to high school. We want to allow them an open house dedicated just for our SPED students, where families and students have an opportunity to visit the classrooms, talk to the teacher, see where their child will be for 8 hours of the day. We want it to be a little more personal with it. I know we do have open houses here in the district, but as our students transition, it's a big change for them as they're going from 5th to 6th, 8th to 9th. We want to be able to provide that time for them where they can really speak to our teachers and our admin and see where the location of their classrooms, what classroom will they be in, the campus dynamics. So we want to allow that spring open house for our transition students as well. And then we're also looking, as I spoke earlier, about our possible expansion of some of our classrooms. As we are seeing the numbers and the city grow in certain areas, we want to make sure that we're also expanding as well and growing with our city and our district. So this is year one. Of course, we are brainstorming more ideas, and we're looking to do a year 2 and a year 3. And I kind of joked with them, and I said, we're in here for the long haul, guys. And this is just not just a 1 year. We have a 10-year plan. No, I'm kidding. Well, maybe we do. So we have year one. This is some of our year one things that we want to implement, some of our items. But when we look back and we looked at our 4 concentric circle model, we said, what is it that you really, really want? What is it that our students and our parents or families really, something that will separate Harlingen from everybody else? So when we collaborated and we brought ideas, we said our ultimate, goal, what we really want was that would set us apart and be the best for our kids and our family was what we call a sensory palace. So this sensory palace will have things such as provide therapy such as art, music, animal therapy. We want to provide a petting zoo, a garden area, a splash pad, a playground. We want to provide in those building training facilities. I think somebody even said a movie theater in there. But we want to be able to provide a safe place where families can come together and can communicate, and share ideas, can collaborate, and be part of our community. So when we look at this model, we said, wow, there's nothing in the region, there's nothing in the state with this sensory palace. And it's something that all our students, our families can enjoy, and even our region. When we look at our region, even the state, the numbers are increasingly growing as I speak to other districts in the region. But this is something that was one of our big picture ideas, and I said, you know what, that can be something in our 4 concentric circle later down the road that we can really provide for our families. I know by providing this, brings collaboration with our community partnerships within our city and along with our families. So it'll be a space for them to really enjoy and really come together, and ultimately for our students to enjoy. And this can be provided to any child in the district, right, as far as field trips come about and other, you talk about the sustainability piece, and there's multiple ways. And even if you take it a step further, seeing our Transition Academy students be employees at the Century Palace. And so that was something that was big picture that we really thought about. He said, wow, now that is innovation, right? So with that concludes our Innovation Pod update. If you have any questions for me or for the team, feel free to.
I've got just a comment. Thank you for the presentation.
Yes,
it was fantastic. Kind of inspired just watching your vision and watching your pod come up with that idea. I was just going to comment about our young man at Harlingen High School, Nolan.
Yes,
Nolan
sir. Garcia. Yes, sir.
Who participated in FFA, and that's another organization that all of our kiddos can learn hard work and can learn lots of lessons. I'd love to see Nolan out at halftime of a quarterfinal soccer game showing his pig, showing his hog. He's the FFA kid. But that was an amazing story, and to see the joy, I could feel it through the story, through the storytelling, how awesome that was. And there's probably 10 more examples of kids that have had success.
Yes, sir.
Let's do that. Let's put him on the basketball court or the football field.
Yes, sir.
Those
So
are great ideas.
Thank you, Mr. Leon. So Mr. Nolan, he's been in FFA for quite some time, but we've also had what we call the Cardinal Classic with our Harlingen High School, and they provide a livestock show for our special education students every year. So that was kind of where it stemmed from also, the animals and the enjoyment that our students have when they work with our animals and when you see them in the show and, seeing that happiness. So, yes, sir, thank you. We'll continue to do that.
Yeah, I was just gonna, off of, I think a lot of us saw the article that with Nolan, and yes, we've seen him at the Cardinal Classic as well. So I know he's been in FFA for a while, but I think any of those other organizations too, where there might be opportunities, right, for there to be some integration, just like with this one. Where I think, I love the sensory palace and the different components that you had, and one of them, that has to do with the animals, right? I think, seeing some of our kids be integrated with the animals and the FFA activities, I think that's a way to integrate them into some of the activities that our district is doing, and then also satisfies something for them that they might want to do, right? So I think if there's other areas that we have where we can have some of our special education students, if that's something that we can integrate them into, I think that'd be awesome, to see as well. Because this was, I think, just one example, right? Where we were able to see that. And then I think, at the Transition Academy, I know they've been talking about that space in the back too. And, they do a lot of stuff there, where they would like to market, these things and maybe sell them and do sort of like a market day. So that space in the back, is that maybe something that could be used to do maybe a modified version of what was presented?
So that was actually something we envisioned, was utilizing the Transition Academy, and we even talked about why not during Christmas time? Everybody's, it's a nice time, nice weather. So we did think about the vision of utilizing the Transition Academy and being able to provide a space for them, and what better place than our Transition Academy. So thank you.
Okay.
Melinda?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Mr. Ochoa and the whole pod, thank you so much for the leadership and the time and the effort to reach more students. We have so much to offer, and the first step is the identifying and making sure that the families know that there's these resources and that they have access to special people who can support them as they go through this journey. And so I really was impressed with the amount of work that you've done to identify so many more children that need the help, so thank you.
Thank you, thank you. It does take a team. It does take a village.
Dr. Muniz? No, go ahead, please.
I just wanted to say, I love your energy, man. You can tell that you're so excited about this. And can you tell me really quick the composition of the team?
So we have, in our team, we have multiple staff members from our district. We also have parents, 2 parents that are in our innovation pod. But we have different lenses from the district that come together. We have teachers, we have administrators. We have about 20, 25 members in our group. It's the largest design team. So we have multiple. We even have Ms. Mendoza. She is an AU specialist. We have Julie. She is our instructional specialist, but we have our coordinators involved. We have our assessment staff, so we have a diagnostician here with us as well, Bianca Henderson. We have a teacher, Ms. Cavazos from GMS, and we have Ms. Amado from Harlingen High. So we have our coordinators in the back. Say hi, Ms. Garcia, Ms. Eleni, Ms. Melissa. And we have Mr. Mendoza. He's our parent in the back with a cap. So Elizondo, sorry, I got confused. Yes, Mr. Elizondo. He's Lucas Elizondo's dad. So thank you for being here, sir.
Yeah, I think they deserve a round of applause. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for volunteering. And what you presented today is really amazing, really awesome. I think that there's a lot of, first of all, congratulations to HCISD for finally doing something and saying, we need to step up and really, let's identify the problems, let's look at some solutions. And we're doing that. And it makes me really happy that we're doing that. Of course, I've got a special needs child. I see the benefits of her, of being selfish in that way. But one of the things that I even see with that whole facility what was the name of the facility?
Sensory Palace.
I think that's awesome. And, one of the things that probably a lot of our general population doesn't know, of course, the special needs, all of you guys understand this, is that there's an aging out process. And unfortunately, a lot of our special needs students, as they age out, they do nothing. They go home and they do nothing. And I think that it would be wonderful if we could somehow bridge that gap so that we could bring some of those students or keep some of those students working for us and them being part of the community. And I know we're trying hard to get them at Chick-fil-A, and Chick-fil-A is a great partner. And other places, I think Peter Piper Pizza does something. And then I'm sure there's others that I don't even know about. But wouldn't that be amazing if we could have that as well and just be able to extend them and empower them? I think it would be amazing. So I think it's a great opportunity.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Osio.
It sounds like a great idea. I have just one quick one. You mentioned some of it, but I hope, and I know you'll do this. I mean, again, I do love the plan. I love everything you're doing. It's incredible. Can't wait to see it come to fruition. I know it's evolving as well, which is awesome. It's getting better. But just sort of these random, not so formal, just checks and sort of oversight and sort of like touch points with families that are impacted, that are involved. I think those are very helpful, and I know they probably do this already. This is part of the work, but I think some of those things, they go a long way when folks are saying, hey, can you tell us how we're doing, and what do you have any ideas? Like, they're going to really just, you're going to, number one, get a lot of affirmation that you're doing a lot of things right. That's kind of important to know. But I think you can glean some good information and that kind of stuff as to maybe where there's some opportunities. And so I would just kind of, like to see some folks do some touch points with families and students, and just to kind of see how we're doing and what should we do more of, what should we do less of, what can we do differently. I mean, you never know what information you're gonna, but sometimes just random kind of conversations versus just sort of the formal kind of process, because a lot of people don't sign up for the formal kind of deals, the surveys and this and that. There's like, but it's really sort of, being in the front lines and kind of just, caring enough to ask those questions and have those conversations that you can get some really good information. So, but great job, incredible work that you're doing. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Betts.
Mr. Chair? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just want to say this. I know I walked in a little late, but Dr. Muniz said something about we're getting it right. We're moving in the right direction in this aspect, but we're getting it right because we have the right people there. And I know you already recognize them, but I want them to know that we see them. Whenever we attend anything at anywhere that they're at, we see the passion, we see the love that you all have, not just for education, but for the students. So back in December, I think there was an event, a community event, And it wasn't completely last minute, but we kind of, you know, let everybody know closer to last minute than doing some planning. And Mr. Ochoa and his staff were there, and with a smile, and they were out there representing HCISD. So I know I thanked you then, but I want to thank you all, because we all recognize the work that you guys put in, that your department
Thank you.
puts in. So thank you for doing that.
Yes, sir. And thank you to our team. They do a fantastic job, and every day, you know, we do our best. They do our best, and we try to provide the best service we can to our students and our families. So thank you, sir.
Thank you.
OCL, I want
Yes,
to echo what several of the board members have said this afternoon. One, I'm really excited. I mean, your passion and energy and what you've done with this department is really exciting. I got a preview earlier today of this presentation, and your staff, y'all are doing a great job. I mean, special ed has been something that's needed a lot of improvement in the state of Texas. And I'm really proud of what you and your department are doing, because, as someone else said, you're stepping up, and we're attacking the problem, and we're getting results. We're going to get better results.
Yes, sir.
And I want to thank the parents that are serving on your committee. Community involvement is so important. And thank you so much for taking your time to work with us in these programs. I want you to put that Century Palace up again, if you would. And I want to ask you one other question before we close out, or two. But you can see some of the things here. This is a dream, a long-term dream. It's something that could be implemented in stages, is what we kind of talked about today. And Gina mentioned the area behind the Transition Academy. We also have a large area out near the ag farm, is another area that we were talking about. And I think the animals are one of the things that these kids are really interested in and show a lot of passion. And we were talking with Dr. Cortan and Dr. Gonzalez this afternoon, and you about, you know, maybe some long-range planning with our community partners, seeing if we could get some partners involved to help us out in this with just the gardening area, the animal area. I mean, there's, you know, and it doesn't look like it's that capital intensive, Oscar. and Raymond. But it's something that's really, really doable. And I want y'all's vision to look forward to doing something like this is just really, really terrific. The other thing I want to comment on is your staff. And, you know, you showed how many evaluations we have to do now. You go back to that slide.
Yes, and counting.
Yeah. And I mean, how many staff members do you have now that are devoted to that? And the hours, they're not just working, as I understand.
No, so we have currently in the department here across the street, we have about 70 employees. In that, we have assessment staff, we have multiple service providers such as educational diagnosticians, we have behavior interventionists, we have adaptive PE, behavior. But when we talk about our assessment team, and currently the way we're attacking that challenge that we have, they're working tremendously and tirelessly. They're working after school. They're working on Saturdays. We're assessing, evaluating on the weekends. During spring break, they were evaluating. And we got to stay in compliance with these evaluations. So we're really tackling the problem and the numbers, the increasing numbers. So the department's doing a fantastic job, and all the team members are doing fantastic, and everybody's pitching in. So.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you for all that dedication, and again, what a great program. Thanks.
Mr.
Thanks
Chair,
again.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that my daughter Ariel, who's special needs, her principal's here, Mrs. Armstrong, and Ariel is always wants to go to school. She loves her program. She loves her teachers. She loves her aides. So, Ms. Armstrong, thank you for doing all that you do for Ariel and all of our kids. Thank you. And by the way, there is a facility called Brookwood in Houston, Texas, that has something similar to what we're talking about. You may want to, it's private funding, but a very nice facility that you may want to look at as a copy.
All right. Thank you, Dr.
Brookwood.
Quince.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Great,
If I may,
great.
sir.
Yes.
Oh, yes, please.
I just wanted to thank you also, Mr. Cho. I know that your team, you guys have been working very, very hard, and you hit the ground running from the principalship to the director of special education. I want to commend you, and want to thank the board, too, for holding us to a high standard in this particular area. I know that every child is some kind of smart, and we want to give children an opportunity to reach their full potential, but that comes through quality individual education plans. So I want to let the parents that have children with special needs know that from the art committee to the development of the individual education plan to the execution of that individual education plan, we're doing all that we can to customize that experience for your child. So if your child is dealing with it's other health impairment, or it's ADHD, or it's autism, whatever, the universe of all possibilities, please know that our district is second to none when it comes to meeting the needs of children with special needs. So if you're not already part of the HCISD family, I would encourage you to visit with us and talk to us. And if you are part of the HCISD family, once again, we believe that every child is some kind of smart, regardless of what they're dealing with. Every kid is some kind of smart, and we'll find out what kind of smart your child is, and we'll put them in a position to be independent and have a quality life. So that doesn't happen without teamwork, and it doesn't happen without vision and all the things that are happening. So we're excited about the opportunity that we have to work with all children, but specifically in this arena, children that are covered under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act are very important to us. Children that are covered under Section 504 or the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 are very important to us. All children, A to Z. So we're a district of equal opportunity, and we'll push your child. We're going to push them to reach their full potential and love them. So, but it's a team that makes that happen. So to the board, to everybody here, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. Thank you, board. Thank you, audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. Okay, our next item is Project Mine AI, an update from the Artificial Intelligence Innovative Pod. Jennifer Maldonado, please. Thank you.
I know what you're already thinking. I don't look like Dr. Jessica Rushka. I get called Jessica more times in a day probably than I get called Jennifer, so we'll just call myself an AI fill-in for today. So I'm inviting several of our members up here. They'll be co-presenting with me this evening. I'm not that tall. Elizeo, I didn't know you were that tall. All right, so our team's ready. When I got asked to step in for Jessica, who I know would love to be able to be here this evening, I thought, oh my gosh, she wants the person who's so inept in technology to go and present on AI. But I felt like that was a great fill-in because this is something that is already here. AI and the world of AI is something that really began in 2022. So if you think of how recent AI really is, there were several of us that took a trip out to Cupertino at Apple, and we got to hear from some of the individuals that have been working on AI for a while. And I wanted to share some of the statistics that we heard on that visit. So with AI being introduced to the world in 2022, ChatGPT ended up becoming the fastest growing technology in history, with over 100 million users in the first 2 months. AI is not a fad. In fact, it uses language to develop. ChatGPT, at this time, they were on 3 and 4. Now there's also a 3.5. But just on 3, and this is a year ago stats, there were 175 billion pieces of information on the free version and over 100 trillion pieces of information on the paid ChatGPT 4. Jeffrey Hinton, who is considered the founder of AI, said, I think it's comparable in scale with the Industrial Revolution or electricity, or maybe even the wheel. So the innovation that we're looking at today with our innovation pod, specifically on artificial intelligence, it's that education is transforming, and no longer will we be focused just on the product, but we really have to be switching up the way that we educate our students to work and focus on process. So today I want to start off by just thanking all of our committee members. So our committee up on the screen here, and if you were in the committee for Innovation Pod, do you mind just taking a stand real quick so we can see who you are if you were on the Innovation Pod committee? It was comprised of several district administrators. It was campus administrators. We have different specialists as well. We have teachers who are actually touching and utilizing this in their classroom today with students. And so we really took a myriad of different individuals. We also have been looking at some of our community members and partnering with individuals that are utilizing AI in the industry today. So what is AI? Some of you may already have an idea that when you click on the little help button, when you're on the internet, on some of the sites, you're working with an AI, an artificial intelligence. But we wanted to actually do a demonstration with you in how AI can be utilized in education. So I'm going to ask those individuals that are helping with our demonstration to come up. Don't be afraid. We're going to hold your hand and walk you through it. But you're going to be receiving right now an iPad. In addition to the iPad that you're receiving, you're going to get an envelope. Inside that envelope, we're going to go ahead and ask you to open your envelope. You're going to experience AI either from a teacher perspective or a student perspective. So you'll get to find out if you're a teacher or a student here. And we have tech support here. They're going to come around. You can go ahead and go behind. We have some tech support here as well who's going to help you. But we're going to ask you, go ahead and turn on that iPad. And that should be already prompted for ChatGPT. And we're going to ask you to type in your prompt and what you see on the envelope. And we're going to give you a few minutes and come back to you.
Regarding welding at high school and emotional quotient.
Oh, thank you.
You better use this for your chair, because I'm an idiot. So what do I type, the whole thing, or just? Oh, there you go. I'm gonna type all that.
I'm getting there.
We hear all that with me. Turn off the mic.
It's gonna take you longer to type it than that thing is gonna come.
It is. Screw it.
Oh, okay, let's see what it tells me.
Just said a love form for my
Teacher. I have my list for that.
like a charm for me, baby. That's what she said.
That's insane.
It's crazy. The doctoral program would have been so much easier. Dissertation in
That's right.
2 minutes.
That's right.
5 years of work in 5 minutes.
That's right.
So back in the day, who was a teacher? Who received a teacher prompt? Okay, several of you. Back in the day, I would spend hours creating lesson plans. Several of you were able to create a lesson plan in seconds, right? And the idea is that what AI can do for us is it can help streamline our systems and processes and mundane tasks sometimes that we utilize for educators every day. But we want to make sure we do that responsibly. So the idea is to take time to really educate our entire learning community and making sure that we are equipping people to utilize AI, which is already here, responsibly, ethically, and making sure that we're equipping everybody for what they will need for their current job. One of the things that we found when we were researching this is that AI is not going to be taking jobs. What will happen is that those people that are equipped to use AI effectively will be the ones to take jobs. We want to equip our students to be at the front of the line, to be able to walk into the society in which they're going to live, ready to be equipped to use things. And we're going to hear about that along the way with our presentation today. So we're going to start with our areas of simulation.
Hello, everybody. So now that you've got a chance to see what AI is, let me tell you a little bit more about it. Artificial intelligence involves teaching computers to perform tasks that typically require human intelligence by simulating our own abilities like learning, reasoning, problem solving, and decision making. These systems gain understanding from data. They identify patterns and make decisions based on algorithms and established models. Smartphones, social media platforms, smart home devices, e-commerce, health and fitness trackers, and automobiles are all examples of AI already integrated in our daily lives. It has the potential to revolutionize industries like healthcare, finance, transportation, and most importantly, education.
So as Paul mentioned, it's everywhere already. This is about equipping our students and teachers to use AI effectively. So as a team, they spend a lot of time in what they're calling Project Mind AI, which is a play on words. We want to mind AI and what it's doing and how it's changing our industry, but we also want to be mindful of how we integrate AI so that we can make sure that we are doing this responsibly. If you look at the bottom of that screen, you'll see that there is a timeline of implementation. This is a pretty advantageous timeline, launching already here in the spring, as the team is coming together to spend time to design goals, look at policy, determine if there's any changes needing to be made, begin already in the summer and fall with professional learning, equipping our teachers, making sure that we have all of the systems in place for data, our protocols that we're utilizing. As Jaime, I don't know if he's still in the room, always talks about turning up the dial or turning up the switch for bandwidth, all of those things. And so finally, we'll be prepared as a system to responsibly have an effective, cohesive plan to launch for 2025 for our student integration, making sure that we are equipping students. So we begin with the innovative goals. First of all, we want to make sure everything is aligned to our strategic plan. But being aligned to our strategic plan is not enough. We want to make sure that we're also aligned to international standards called ITSE standards. Those standards will help us to make sure that we are not only doing what is right for our students here in Harlingen, but making sure we're doing what's right for students to work in a global society. Whenever we include that, we also want to consider digital citizenship. Making sure our kids are safe ultimately is the goal. So when we talk about safety, that doesn't just mean in a physical space, but this is also in a virtual space, and making sure that we teach our students how to use all of the technology that's already there effectively. And of course, we have on there AI proficiency. Our goals around making sure that our students are proficient to utilize AI is just as important as making sure that our educators are prepped and ready to utilize AI effectively in the classroom. Some people are scared and nervous. How do we do this? What does it look like? And so we have to equip them, hold their hand, and make sure that they know it's okay to utilize it. But we're going to teach you how to do this effectively in the classroom. Our whole ultimate goal is around having a responsible rollout and that responsible student usage. I'm going to turn it back over to Paul de la Cruz for our policy.
So, building a policy around AI is essential to the work we do in our community. Our goal is to prioritize user privacy while ensuring fair and ethical use as we continue to evaluate its effectiveness and impact moving forward. Areas of artificial intelligence are ever evolving, which amplifies the importance of safe and appropriate usage. If done properly, we can harness the potential of AI to enhance the overall experience at HCISD for our teachers and our students.
Good afternoon. For professional learning, we believe it's essential to equip our teachers with professional learning to leverage AI effectively in the classroom. Every teacher has unique needs and learning levels when it comes to learning technology and incorporating AI into their lesson design and instruction. We want to meet our teachers where they are. So we're developing pathways that provide guidance on how to integrate AI tools into teaching and learning. We intend to find AI tools and resources that are helpful for our teachers, ones that are beneficial for practices that we already have in place, making their processes more efficient, and we want resources that are in demand, that are highly used, and ones that offer authentic support. When it comes to AI, there's a whole glossary of AI terminology. So understanding AI terminology is important for educators to understand AI concepts and using its technologies. We're creating a glossary that will demystify AI terminology, making it accessible and easy for teachers to understand. In our next point, we understand that collaboration is key when it comes to successful use of AI in education. We're planning an AI conference that brings together various stakeholders to share best practices, innovative ideas, and practical experiences. This conference will create a supportive environment for teaching and learning, and it will empower our teachers to stay informed of the latest AI advancements. Lastly, we recognize the importance of buy-in and support for our successful AI implementation. We believe AI can work in conjunction with our leadership model, specifically the business perspective. AI can help educators streamline their systems and processes, and in turn, this allows the students to experience the leadership model in action. So in conclusion, our approach to professional learning prioritizes empowerment, collaboration, and strategic alignment to maximize the benefits of AI for our teachers and students. I'll turn it over to Mr. Dustin Voss.
Good evening. When we talk about access systems and data, that's a really fun part of it, right? Well, with access, there's a few points to each one of them. With access, we want to make sure that we have equitable AI resources and accessibility. This ensures that all students have access to AI educational tools like ChatGPT, like Magic School, and this helps us to bridge that digital divide. The resource approval process, we've been looking at implementing rigorous vetting processes for AI tools to assess educational readiness, the value that it brings, as well as the user friendliness and inclusivity. Training and support provides comprehensive training for teachers and students on how to effectively use AI resources such as Copilot, ChatGPT, or Canva, and this will help enhance their digital literacy across the district. When we look at systems, we're looking at making sure that we have adaptive firewall policies. We review and adjust as needed the firewall settings for the safe usage of AI, ensuring some balance between security and educational innovation. Infrastructure readiness, we continue to monitor the district's IT infrastructure to support the AI technologies that are currently available. And continuous monitoring to ensure that the systems for the ongoing evaluation of AI tools and technologies and ensure that they're meeting the educational standards and evolve with the pedagogical needs. With data, we're looking to protect student privacy first and foremost, implementing strict data privacy measures in line with laws like FERPA and ensuring AI tools like ChatGPT do not store or misuse student data. Copyright compliance to ensure students and educate students and staff on copyright laws, emphasizing the importance of using copyrighted material, as well as giving material to AIs and ensuring that they maintain their ownership of those materials. Lastly, data literacy. When we're looking at the data, this will incorporate data literacy into curriculum, teaching students about the significance of data privacy and security in the AI age. A few other things. We're collaborating with the AI providers, working closely with those who are developing it, the tools to ensure that they understand the educational needs and context that we have, as well as privacy. Piloting these in smaller classes before a full rollout, ensuring that we have parental involvement, keeping them informed and involved in the process, particularly about how their children's data is protected and how they can support safe AI usage at home. And lastly, ensuring that we have a student-centered design, ensure that the implementation of all these AI tools is guided by pedagogical objectives and the diverse needs of our students to make sure the technology is an enabler rather than a distraction.
Good evening. Pathways for student AI use is students are able to use AI just like teachers are. They're able to use it for any subject, CTE all the way through their core classes and their electives. When students are using AI, they need to know their digital citizenship so that they are using it responsibly and respectfully. And the students would be able to showcase work such as artwork, CTE projects, designs that they've come up with that would allow them to showcase or conference their work for not just the district or the parents and community, but even for future business owners, they would have some ownership over their own work. This allows students to have more integration into the AI as we research further into the expanding technology of AI that there is.
So as you can see, there is a lot that has to go into this comprehensive plan. And we're doing it while building the ship while we're out to sea, right? And ChatGPT, all of these others, they're already here. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we are streamlining and saying, this, we heard about it in our vetting process. This is something that we have vetted, we've approved, we've said that this is valuable. And then if there's something else that a teacher wants access to or to use, we'll have an entire vetting process to get that in the hands of our educators. One of the things that I want to just share is that this team that has been working so hard on this project has really been looking to who are the front runners. So they went out to a conference with TCAA, which is the front runners in technology, and what they found were there are not a lot of people ahead of the game. They want to put HCISD in the front of the line and make sure that we are really the innovators with not just saying we're using AI, but we are using it responsibly, and here's our comprehensive plan. So at this time, I want to just take a second to recognize our presenters this evening. So we have, if you guys want to stand just one more time. They're a little nervous today, but they did a great job. So if we can just give them a round of applause. I just wanted to thank them as well. If there are any questions that, I'm going to turn them all over to them. Now, if there are any questions that you guys have for the team, we want to conclude here.
Please, Doctor, go ahead.
Doctor?
Yeah.
No, I just had a great presentation. Thank you for actually, bringing this before us and for the hard work on this. And I know we talk about AI, quite a bit. And one of the things that we talk about is, the ability, and I'm sure, in the prompts that you gave us, like the one I had was pretty accurate, right? Mm-hmm. It gave it, I'm not a subject matter expert, but it did give me, questions that I thought were very applicable to the prompt that I asked, right? But one of the fastest growing fields out there right now is for engineers who know how to generate those prompts, right? So what I would hope, to see is, somewhere in, that student piece, right, is, really, because that's going to be a field that I can see continuing to grow, right, that maybe there is some inclusion there into teaching our students, giving them some of that, lessons in how to do that and practice in how to do that so that, we can start generating some folks that have experience in that and may want to seek out, jobs in that area, because I think that's the next thing, right? This can only take you as far as the question that you can ask it, right? Mm-hmm. So hopefully we'll get to see that as part of the student piece. But very excited about what y'all are going to be doing in this area. So thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. No, equally excited. I can't wait to see it, and I can't wait to visit some of these classrooms and get a different kind of experience. Of course, it'll be worse than Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader at that point, but that's okay. It's okay. They're for the learning. But I will say this, as we get into AI, and I love that we're doing this, and you have an incredible team behind you that really put this together, but I also would ask you, and I think I'm sure you're already doing this, but there's a huge sort of movement, of course, with AR, right? That's the next piece, is augmented reality. And, you know, we're seeing this in healthcare as well in a huge way, in a lot of different therapeutic modalities and that kind of stuff. And it's pretty incredible what these little machines, those little things can do, you know, and to have someone, you know, put this thing on and then to get immersed in this experience that's just like nothing else, right? With auditory things, and they're this, and it's incredible the emotions it brings out in someone. It's incredible the escape, right? It's just sort of like a different sort of situation, right? And the awe that they experience that then takes them into a situation where they can change their brain, change their behaviors, change how they think about something, change how they feel about something. So much so that we're seeing it in therapeutics, like folks with cancer, folks with significant, you know, pain syndromes and things like that. And because of this sort of the emotions, the escape, the awe that they take, there's studies that show statistical significance in terms of the difference with getting TID or QID therapies with this 10, 15-minute device. It's just nuts. Better than these pharmaceutical drugs, things like that. You know, I mean, that have worked great up to this point, but now it's like you don't have to take anything. You just have to put on this thing for 10, 15 minutes a day, 3 times a day. And it's just incredible the therapeutic impact it's having in some very significant, serious, you know, conditions. And so all that to say, we don't know where AR is going to lead, but it's going to have some enormous impact in different types of fields and things like that. I wonder about its impact in something like mental health, because we know that among all the different, physicians and therapists and providers out there, the mental health experts that do this kind of work, there were not near enough of them pre-pandemic. So now you know. But so I wonder what kind of opportunities AR might provide if we can get 15 or 20 or get a grant. Just a hint for folks out there listening. Get a grant to get like 30 of these for our district and to study its impact in mental health, for example. I think that we might be onto something. So thanks for the work you guys do. Great job.
Dr. Reiniger?
I wanted to say thank you so much for the work of the group, and I'm really excited about the scope of how you're thinking about it. I would say that you are leading the way for this, probably not just in the K-12 space, but probably in higher ed too. Being in higher ed, I feel like there's a little bit of foot dragging around this topic and trying to figure out the boundaries of it and the responsible rollout and the ethical considerations, especially in the generation of new findings in science, and how AI contributes to that. And I think there is a contribution of that. I say all of that to say that we're preparing students that will likely be in advance of the next step in their educational process. So they're going to come out knowing how to use this, knowing how to use it responsibly, probably knowing how to use it irresponsibly as well, but that we would guide them into responsible use, right? But they're going to enter systems and workplaces that aren't maybe even accepting of it. And so I think where you can, because of our great relationships with higher ed, having, like, you're pushing and pulling, right, in that. And so I just would have those kinds of discussions too, so that we're preparing our students to know, like, well, not everybody does it this way, and this is why. So just some thoughts, but thank you so much for leading the way. Great job.
Mr. Powers, real quick, thank you again. I agree with everything my colleagues have said, and just to keep it short and sweet, digital citizenship. I'm so happy to see that you've jumped on that, and at every step I saw those two words. And I don't even know that I fully understand everything that you're talking about. I don't know that our kiddos are going to, but I do want them to understand those two words, and that no matter what technology comes your way in your lifetime, that does not remove your responsibility to use it responsibly, to not misuse it, and also to be able to recognize signs that it's being misused on you. The information that you're being given may have been manipulated, may be too good to be true. I think we're building savvy future citizens. So digital citizenship is what stuck out to me.
Mr. Powers, can I jump back in real quick? Just to build on that, one other thing you said, Project Mind AI was your title or your approach. I think there's one other way that there's a play on words on that mind is first. Mind AI, right? It's never going to be like we're removing our mind and our decision making and our citizenship and all of that. Mind is always first. We have to know how to use it and how to improve. So thank you.
Well, and I think also it's kind of like the devices themselves, we never make it about the tool. It's not about the tool. It's just a tool in the learning and in the bigger picture. Same thing as this. I think if we have it, if we always put it through that lens of it's just another thing to augment the learning and to enhance the learning and to enhance collaboration and to just, I think then we get it right? If it becomes sort of about the tool or about the software, or then we get into trouble. So.
Jessica, I'm just joking.
I'm used to it.
Jennifer, excellent job. This is my world.
Jessica
I love
2.0.
I love AI. I use it on a daily basis, 3, 4, 5 times a day. And it's cool that we're doing this. You answered all my questions. I just want to point out what my first question was. What does integration look like? We don't really know a year from now, but you kind of touched base on that, right? And how will we filter the data, which is what Ricky was talking about. You mentioned that. Fantastic. Here's a fun question. How many of you speakers today used AI for your script? Perfect. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, 2. Yeah, that's great. Fantastic. Now, bonus question for you guys. How many of you realize that this team of 8 used AI in creating our strategic plan? And that was, Veronica, how long ago was that?
It'll be a year, and it was a year in February.
We used it a year ago to answer some of the questions. And so it was fun to be able to use it. Dr. Gonzalez wasn't with us. It was fun. We were just messing with it. It was kind of new, But yeah, so we love AI. We're glad that you guys are doing this, and it's exciting to see what's going to happen. I think Gina also mentioned something about the prompts, and it's all about the questions. It's all about the mega prompt. I mentioned mega prompts, It's not just the prompt. It's the prompt. Now we get the gold, the mega prompt. So it's exciting to see all this going on. Thank you.
You mentioned a conference. Can you speak more on that, please?
Allie, you want to come and talk about TCEA?
So there were 2 conferences that were mentioned. One was in the professional learning slide, where we intended to have some sort of learning conference for our teachers and our faculty to attend so that they can share best practices and find innovative ideas amongst fellow colleagues who have dabbled in AI and have already successfully used it in the classroom. But most recently, my colleagues and I had the opportunity to travel to TCEA, which is the Texas Education, it's a technology conference, and it's the best in the state. And so this technology conference, it was full of AI sessions, and it just seems to be this watershed moment, like we had with Google and the advent of the internet. AI is here, and it was very prevalent with this particular conference. So we took it upon ourselves to take as many sessions as we could, and eventually the same message was getting through, and we were hitting a point where we couldn't go any further in our learning with AI. So we've been able to come together and synthesize all that information that we gathered at TCEA, and now we're presenting to you. Did you have any other questions when it came to a conference?
The local conference for our teachers, would we be bringing in speakers or?
So I think it's a combination of both. We have people, for instance, we have an an Apple educator that's already here on site that we have access to. But we already have teachers that are utilizing this in their classrooms already. So we have a lot of teachers. There's a lot of authenticity when teachers hear from other teachers that are effectively using these tools in the classroom. And so we want to make sure that we're highlighting that as well and taking advantage of that. But we have great partnerships that we've built along the way. So we have the ability to bring in other individuals wherever we may see that there's an additional need.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you all very much. Jennifer, great job. You're a great pinch hitter, I'll tell you. You did a superb job. Great, you great staff. Mr. Cruz, Mr. Voss, Ms. Cornejo, Mrs. Harrison, I may call on y'all if it's all right. I don't know if the district will allow you to tutor me a little bit. 'Cause the other members of this board will realize that I need some help in technology. So, but this is the future. And that we roll it out responsibly is so important. And y'all are really digging in and being in the forefront. And thank you so much for all your hard work. We can see that y'all really dedicate a lot of time, and you got a lot of interest and energy in this. So thank you so much. Dr. Gonzalez?
Oh, yes, I want to thank our board for being progressive in embracing AI, embracing augmented reality, embracing the future. Want to thank the community for trusting us with your children, but just please know that we're going to embrace AI, but we're preparing your children to read at very high levels, to write at very high levels, to have number sense, to be able to articulate, to be able to come up with ideas, to be problem solvers, to be able to gain knowledge through this reading and writing and this whole experience, to be able to comprehend, analyze, apply, synthesize, evaluate, create. We're not taking their creativity away. And along that path, we're going to show them how to embrace AI for future employment opportunities, so that they understand that they can leverage technology to gain more through the creative experience, but you can never replace a great mind. You have to remember, human beings created AI. So we have to learn how to embrace that. I wanted to let the community know that we're gonna embrace AI like no other district, augmented reality like no other district, but simultaneously, we're gonna make sure that we put your children in a position to excel, and we're excited about all the opportunities that AI presents. And I know earlier we talked about individuals with special needs. AI is gonna balance the playing field for a lot of these students that may have maybe dyslexia, maybe they're dealing with some kind of dysgraphia, whatever it may be, the universe of all possibilities. But when you put AI into the picture, it balances the playing field for even those students that may be struggling. So just know that this is a wonderful time to be in public education, and we embrace all the challenges set forth by the state of Texas, and Harlingen CISD is ready to rock and roll. So we're excited.
Thank you so much. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Dr. Corton, can you tell us what, because it keeps getting better and better each month, so.
Super exciting topics, right?
Future
Please don't tell us the singularity is next. We're not ready for that.
So let me clarify that the iPads, they're not door prizes, so I think Anthony's coming around to pick them up. But I hope you enjoyed today's presentations. That was just a little glimpse of two of our design teams. As I was sitting here kind of listening, a couple of things came to mind: passion and the world of what can be. And so through our design team process, we've always had a lot of success with that. And so tonight you heard from two of our design teams. We have two more coming up next month. I see Kevin Garcia back there. He's ready to go. He has a design team that is looking at what does beyond the classroom really mean, and how do you incorporate the entire community to truly take our kids beyond the classroom. And then another really important topic that we've talked about all year long, Sylvia Gamboa is actually leading a design team around how do we make sure that we bring mental health to the forefront, and what does that look like systemically, so that students don't necessarily have to do an outreach, but it's just part of what we do and how we do business. So next month, we'll have those two topics, and looking forward to bringing those two design teams to our board. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, and if there's nothing further, no one has anything else, we are adjourned.
Awesome. Great job. Before 6, man.